man, Georges Niang, and the 22nd overall pick in this year's draft. That's all it took for the Atlanta Hawks to land Kristaps Porziņģis, a 7'3" unicorn who, when healthy, can completely flip the balance of the Eastern Conference. And yes, the injury concerns are real. Everyone knows it. Everyone talks about it. But here's the thing. Sometimes you have to take a risk when the potential reward is this massive. Because when it comes to Kristaps Porziņģis, there's one thing you should never question: how good he is at basketball. Very few players in the entire NBA can do what KP does on both ends of the floor. Over the past 3 seasons, he's averaged 21 points, 7.5 rebounds, more than 2 assists, and nearly 1.7 blocks per game while shooting 50% from the field, 39% from 3, and 84% from the free throw line. That's not just good. That's elite efficiency at a size most teams simply don't have an answer for. Think about it. A 7-footer pulling up from 30 feet in transition like a guard. A rim protector consistently ranked among the best shot blockers in the league. A post player who, for 3 straight seasons, has been the most efficient scorer on the block in the entire NBA. Porziņģis doesn't just stretch the floor, he bends it. His shooting creates space, his defense closes it, and when healthy, his impact is felt on every possession. That's why this trade has the potential to be pure genius. The Hawks didn't give up any cornerstone pieces. They made a low-risk, high-reward move that could elevate them from being a mid-tier team to a legitimate Eastern Conference threat. But there's a shadow that still follows KP everywhere he goes: his health. Not just his injuries, but that strange, mysterious illness that derailed his postseason last year. No one truly knew what it was. It came out of nowhere, and it left him averaging just 7.5 points per game on 31% shooting in the playoffs. It was one of the most confusing situations we'd seen in a while. But then came Eurobasket. KP looked reborn, flying around the court, blocking shots, finishing strong at the rim, and moving like a player who had shaken off every doubt. With him already active in preseason, this momentum feels real. If he stays healthy, he's not just a good fit for the Hawks, he might be the missing piece. And when you pair him with Trae Young, things could get very interesting. This is, without question, the most talented big man Trae Young has ever played with. No one he's shared the floor with has been able to space the court like this. At 7'3", Kristaps Porziņģis isn't just a shooter. He's a lob threat, he's a legit roller, and he's a matchup nightmare for any defense that tries to contain him. That shooting alone is going to be a massive upgrade for Atlanta's starting unit. Over the last few seasons, we've seen Trae's efficiency dip, not because he forgot how to score, but because opposing defenses have been able to load up on him. With a legitimate stretch big next to him, defenses can't just wall him off anymore. Suddenly, there's space. Suddenly, Trae has room to breathe, to maneuver, to operate. And for a point guard with his vision and craft, that's everything. Take a play like this as an example. In a typical possession last season, someone like Onyeka Okongwu sets a screen, and the big defender, someone like Miles Turner, gets caught in no man's land. That indecision creates just enough space for Trae to get downhill or pull up. Now, replace Okongwu with Porziņģis. If the defender commits to the roller, Trae's got a runway. If the defender stays home, Porziņģis is wide open behind the arc. Pick your poison. And when you've got a 7'3" sniper dragging your rim protector out of the paint, it turns the lane into a runway. Once Trae gets downhill, trying to catch him is a nightmare. That gravitational pull KP creates forces defenses into impossible decisions on every pick and roll. But here's the scary part. It's not just about the pick and rolls involving Porziņģis. Even when he isn't in the action, defenses can't ignore him. They can't leave him alone in the corner or at the top of the key. One wrong rotation, one moment of hesitation, and the ball swings to a wide-open KP for 3. That kind of floor spacing doesn't just make Trae better, it lifts the entire offense. Jalen Johnson, Dyson Daniels, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, every single player on this roster will benefit from having that kind of offensive gravity on the floor. The paint opens up, the passing lanes widen, and the defense is constantly on edge. And that's before we even talk about the part of KP's game that almost no one is giving enough credit to: his post-scoring. You've probably heard about his three-point shooting, but what might shock you is this. For the last 3 seasons, Porziņģis has been the most efficient post scorer in the entire NBA. Let that sink in. In a league that includes Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, Alperen Şengün, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Anthony Davis, Porziņģis has outperformed all of them in post-up efficiency year after year. He might not get Jokic or Embiid-level volume, but when he gets the ball on the block, it's nearly automatic. Try to guard him with someone smaller? Good luck. He doesn't even need to bully you. One dribble, a simple turn, and he's already rising up over your head. Like this possession, he seals. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope uses his length to get inside, and soft touch does the rest. And if you think putting a guard or wing on him is a solution, it's not. He doesn't need to back you down at all. If there's a gap in the zone, like when D'Angelo Russell is standing there, he just plants his feet, seals position, and shoots right over the top. It's clean, it's efficient, and it's brutal for defenses. Now combine that inside game with Trae Young's shooting and playmaking. If the defense doesn't switch, Trae has a clear pull-up 3. If they do switch, KP can pop out or seal a mismatch or simply rise and fire. Every action between those two creates chaos. And the best part? This isn't just theory. KP has proven he can do this. Trae has made a career out of exploiting defensive gaps. Together, their games fit like a puzzle. If this duo stays healthy, we might be looking at one of the most dangerous inside-out combinations in the entire Eastern Conference. And the scary part is, they're just getting started. In this possession, the Utah Jazz actually did switch. Juan Toscano Anderson ended up on Kristaps Porziņģis, and watch how simple it is. KP doesn't overcomplicate it. He seals him off, establishes deep position, and with one smooth motion, hooks it in. Easy. Effortless. That's the kind of play that forces defenses to respect him on every single possession. And this is exactly why his role is going to be so important for the Atlanta Hawks. When you look at their starting lineup, they have athleticism, speed, and energy, but they don't have another offensive hub like Porziņģis. Jalen Johnson is a monster in transition, fast, powerful, explosive, but in the half court, there's still some development needed. Dyson Daniels brings great defense and playmaking instincts, but his offensive ceiling isn't fully unlocked yet. Zachary Reese is still growing as a young piece. That leaves Porziņģis as their second most complete offensive player behind Trae Young. And until Jalen takes that next leap, the Hawks are going to rely on him to not just space the floor, but also run the offense through him at times. This isn't new for KP. We've seen what happens when a team plays through him. Just look back at his time with Washington Wizards. He averaged 23 points, 8 rebounds, and 2.5 assists per game. Those numbers aren't empty. They came in real NBA games with real usage, proving that KP can be a legitimate offensive focal point. Now imagine those same numbers, but next to Trae Young, with Jalen Johnson cutting and running alongside him, and a bench unit that's quietly getting deeper. That's a very different story. That's a dangerous team. But what makes this fit even more exciting isn't just the offense. It's the defensive structure Atlanta has quietly built around him. With Nickeil Alexander-Walker joining the team, plus Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, and rookie Zachary Reese showing real defensive flashes, the Hawks finally have the right pieces to protect and amplify KP's impact on that end. You want guards and wings who can fight through screens, chase shooters, and funnel the action toward the rim. Because when they do that, Porziņģis is waiting, using his length, timing, and rim protection instincts to alter or block everything near the basket. He's not just a floor spacer, he's an anchor, a presence, someone who changes how teams attack you. And here's where things get even more interesting. The backup center situation. Onyeka Okongwu is good enough to start for several teams in the league, and that matters a lot more than people realize. Because let's be honest, load management isn't a joke here. If resting KP when he's sore means the difference between him playing 65 to 70 games versus 40 games with another serious injury, then rest him. No hesitation. Having Okongwu means the Hawks can do exactly that. They don't have to run Porziņģis into the ground. They can manage his minutes smartly and still have high-level production at the 5. And here's the best part. These two bring completely different strengths. Porziņģis is the elite floor spacer, the rim protector, the post-up scorer. Okongwu is the switchable big who can defend on the perimeter, move his feet, and provide a different look. Together, they give Atlanta flexibility that very few teams in the league have. And then there's the potential of them playing together. This isn't just wishful thinking. This could be a real weapon. With KP's shooting and Okongwu's mobility, you've got two bigs who can stretch the floor, rebound, set bruising screens, and pass at a level they don't always get credit for. We've already seen teams like Houston Rockets experiment with two big lineups using Alperen Şengün and Steven Adams to great effect. The league is shifting. A new age of double big lineups is emerging. Not the old-school clogged paint version, but modern stretch and switch combinations. Porziņģis and Okongwu could easily be part of that evolution. And remember, Okongwu even started knocking down threes toward the end of last season. That's huge. That means Atlanta could potentially have two stretch bigs who can score inside and out, pass, set screens, and protect the rim. That's a terrifying combination for any defense to handle. When you add it all up, the low cost of the trade, a 22nd pick and a couple of role players, the offensive fit, the defensive infrastructure, and the flexibility of their front court, the Hawks might have just pulled off one of the smartest under-the-radar moves of the offseason. Porziņģis isn't just another piece. He could be the piece that unlocks a new ceiling for this team. And if everything clicks, if KP stays healthy, if Trae finds his rhythm with the new spacing, if Jalen continues to rise, Atlanta might shock a lot of people this season. And honestly, I can't wait to see how far this team can go.